A civilization-ending volcano is stirring, and could this trigger an eruption that could repeat what it has already done? So this volcano has a frightening history. In the 1980s, a series of eruptions has ended a lot of people, over 2,000, and has completely destroyed villages. Tens of thousands have been evacuated and displaced. Dense clouds of ash have covered an 8-kilometre, 5-mile radius, has blanketed land up to like 40 centimeters with ash and debris, has resulted in expansive areas of countryside being devastated, including crops, cattle, ranches, and the eruption has also created almost a 1-mile wide crater, which now contains an acidic crater lake. But that is not all. The economic damage exceeded $117 million, and that was in the 1980s. This would be way more now. And the global impact was massive. NASA reported that the eruption injected a huge amount of material into the stratosphere, which caused a knock-on effect for the global temperature, a drop which was estimated 0.5 degrees Celsius, 0.5 degrees Celsius. And even one of the more previous eruptions might have contributed to the downfall of one civilization. That's why it's called a civilization-ending threat. And this volcano started to stir again last year, just last year. So people are very worried right now. Scary news. Never good if one headline involves the word doom. We recently talked about the doomsday glacier that could have worldwide implication, because it's like if you have a bottle of champagne and the top goes off and then the rest, well, watch that video. But scientists are on red alert as the doom volcano, you hear me right, stirs after 40 years of silence. Which one am I talking about? That's the big question. And guys, I want to say something. This is real. And this is not one of these thumbnails that you see with all these fake AI channels that are exploding and spreading over YouTube. Crazy, like every thumbnail shows a big crack 1 minute ago, 4 minutes ago, it's cracking, it's doomsday, all the West Coast volcanoes are exploding. No, they're all in normal range, nothing's happening there. So all these doomsday stuff, if you hear an AI voice, just don't watch it. Trust me guys, it's BS. I just needed to say this because this is spreading like crazy with like thousands and thousands of these fake videos every day. And I can guarantee you, if it's an AI voice, it's BS. It's a bunch of people sitting in these not call centers, but you know what I mean, somewhere in Asia or somewhere, stealing transcripts from real YouTube videos like mine and then reproducing this. So we need to create awareness of this. So if it sounds too weird to be true, it's not true. So if you see these thumbnails. After more than 4 decades of silence though, this is a real one. A long dormant volcano is showing unsettling new signs of activity that at best, we have to say, keep scientists watching very closely. Researchers have detected something. They have detected rising temperatures. With a volcano, you're like, ha 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 ha, because what creates rising temperatures? Maybe rising magma. Then there's bubbling gases as well, and unusual sulfur formations inside Mexico's El Chichón volcano, also known as Chichonal. I don't know if I pronounced that right, guys. Chichonal. You know what I mean. The changes were recorded by scientists from the National Autonomous University of Mexico during monitoring between June and December 2025. So, okay, what's going on? Let's have a look at last eruptions. How dangerous is this thing? So it last erupted in 1982, and it has ended, I can't say the word with K because YouTube then shuts down the video, so to speak, has ended at least 2,000 people in one of Mexico's least disasters, volcanic disasters. Ending volcanic disasters, we can say. Hasn't the world become stupid? I have to say. But it is what it is. So scientists observed elevated heat, shifting crater-like chemistry, and gas emissions, including hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide, which can be hazardous in high concentrations. We know that if you get too close to that. And then something that is weird, unusual, like hollow sulfur spheres that are forming in liquid sulfur pools inside the crater, right? So this thing is alive and it's showing that it's brewing something, it's cooking something. So we can call that dynamic science, definitely. And here it comes, but what's the usual sentence that they keep telling us? Here it is, drum roll. Experts say there's currently no evidence of magma movement beneath the volcano. Do they not have the evidence? Do they not have checked this? Or there's no evidence until there is, right? So for now, they say the activity is likely hydrothermal and does not indicate an imminent eruption. Yeah, that is always the thing, right? Until it is imminent. So the new findings come from detailed fieldwork and remote monitoring that they have conducted with the university's Institute of Geophysics, and they have been studying Chichonal's, I can't say that word, Chichonal's internal dynamics for years. But the recent inspections, scientists reported that the crater lake, normally green and dominated by algae, had turned grayish. That suggests elevated levels of sulfates and silica in the water. Must come from somewhere. So that's why they have conducted thermal measures, and they showed that the temperatures in the lake bed and the surrounding crater floor had risen higher than typical background levels. And then the researchers also documented fluctuating chloride concentrations and changing interactions between gas and water. That's a sign that hot fluids are circulating beneath the surface. What is heating them? Well, if it's a crater lake, you might get an idea. So then they sampled some gases. They took gas samples, and that revealed, and that's interesting, that hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and carbon dioxide, CO2, are accumulating near the crater. These are gases that can pose risk to humans and animals if they build up in enclosed or low-lying areas, by the way. They still say such emissions are common in active hydrothermal systems and do not necessarily signal an eruption. But if they're all of a sudden rise and increase, well, the curve is pointing towards that potentially. So one volcanologist explained that the unusual activity is most likely caused by superheated groundwater. I mean, superheated groundwater. What's down there? A gas cooker? What is it, right? Superheated groundwater is interacting with hot rock rather than molten magma rising towards the surface. Yeah, okay. Why is the rock hot? Just asking. So, they say, the observed behavior is consistent with hydrothermal processes or minor steam-driven explosions. Yeah, volcanoes can cause that. They have collected seismic data in the region. They right now show low levels of seismic activity. So if there was a shizzy that could hit the fizzy, we would, yes, see an increased level of earthquakes, right? Even microseismic. They say, since we do not have that, if magma is rising, it needs to break through the surface like a miner. We see these earthquakes. So they suggest that magma is not currently moving beneath the volcano. Good thing is that this volcano has been restricted to visitors since its catastrophic 1982 eruption. But for researchers, it has become a very important key research site. And they're trying not only to study how this volcano behaves, in general, they're trying to study how volcanoes evolve after major explosive events. So therefore, the crater lake of the volcano and the sulfur deposits provide these opportunities to examine how the heat and the fluids reshape volcanic landscapes over time or lead to a new one. And guys, really, that explosion of 1982, I mean, we also had Mount St. Helens that left a scar in that decade. And this disaster remains vivid, especially in southern Mexico. 1982, March 28th, the volcano unleashed a series, I say volcano, I don't want to say that name again. The volcano unleashed a series of powerful eruptions that continued into April. So several eruptions have sent ash clouds high into the atmosphere, but the unaliving pyroclastic flows were a huge problem. Entire villages were destroyed. Agricultural land was covered and destroyed under ash and debris. Thousands of residents were forced to flee and run for their lives. This eruption has devastated coffee farms, livestock, and valuable infrastructure, and it has caused a long-term economic environmental damage across the region. So that today we have the scientists that say the current activity bears little resemblance to the conditions that preceded the 1982 eruption. But here's the problem. Not every eruption is the same. That's the thing. It's not always doing the same. Iceland, yeah, it was kind of doing the same, but it was doing it so often, like started out first month every 4 weeks, right? But if it's not in such a short time frame, it's hard to predict. So it could do something completely different. And that's why they caution that volcanoes can remain dynamic for decades, even centuries after a major event. So if there's subtle changes in temperature, in gas emissions, water chemistry, they say that can be early clues about how, and now let's word this again like with a bunch of flour, they say how a volcanic system is evolving underground. Evolving, that's nicely said, right? Is maybe creeping towards an eruption. They're using drones, they're using satellites, remote sensing through satellites, and on-site instruments to monitor these anomalies, the thermal anomalies, the gas plumes, and the ground deformation, and the earthquakes. So if there is a sudden steep escalation, they should be able to detect it, right? And it's critical that they do this continuous monitoring with a dangerous volcano like that. Because, and they admit, this volcano and volcanic systems in general, they can change rapidly, right? That's why whenever I hear that sentence, right now there is no evidence that an eruption is imminent right now. Until an hour later, it is, right? That's the problem. And when we talk about Campi Flegrei, the supervolcano in Italy near Naples with more than 6 million people in the greater Naples area, when the local volcano observatory says, well, there's no evidence right now that it's erupting. Well, until there is, and that's why their seasoned scientists say constant monitoring doesn't guarantee you safety, because monitoring just tells you, oops, it's happening, right? It can't predict, only to somewhat, but sometimes, and we've seen this in Iceland as well, it stays like this, and then the escalation is quickly, and then you maybe sometimes have only 30 minutes until the eruption happens. So trying to detect it early is the key to safety. So right now they're saying there is no cause for public alarm. But the renewed activity at this volcano tells us maybe it's not doing anything, but it's not inactive. We need to be careful. I will be on the pulse of this for you, and there's so much happening right now. You got to watch this Lake Tahoe thing, but also all the other videos here. It's crazy. Crazy. I'm talking about 30 feet tsunami waves inland. Crazy, crazy. Dangerous fault lines that nobody talks about ever. Doesn't seem to be newsworthy. There is a magnitude 7+ earthquake that creates a 30-foot tsunami wave within seconds. So watch that, but best is you subscribe, because then you see all of my videos. And go to my channel start page, click on videos, click on recent. It'll blow your mind what is going on. So thanks for watching. Please leave a like and a hype, and I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.